Welcome friends, this is T again with another reaction video. And today we're going to be doing a reaction on Emergency Awesome's Fantastic Four casting. Now I've been looking forward to this, and as you can see, they made their choices on who's going to play all the characters. Now there's some characters I might be disappointed in and some I'm excited about. Now I really want to know what Emergency Awesome has to say about this particular situation because I do value his opinion about a lot of things. Now he's straight reporting. He don't play around. He don't give you, whether he likes a movie or not like a movie or likes the choices they make with Marvel or DC. He don't do none of that. He just tell you the facts. And that's what I really like about this guy. I've been watching him for years. And he also made me want to become a YouTuber. And I was really excited whenever I watched him and he came out with information. Now, I also watched Grace Randolph too as well. She's pretty accurate as well with her reporting, but sometimes she's kind of biased. She like to give her opinions. She want to say whether a movie is good or not, and she sometimes like the actors and sometimes she don't. So I take her opinion with a grain of salt. I will take her opinion more than many people out there talking about it, because a lot of people do this stuff with clickbait, or they just want you to come on their channel, but then they'll just throw all these theories out there, and some of them are accurate and some of them not. So I put her above that, because I don't think she's trying to report anything inaccurate. It's just sometimes she got her own opinions about it. And what I love about Emergency Awesome is he just reports the straight facts. And that's all I need. I just need the straight facts. Now, what I want to get from him on this video is not only who they picked to play in the Fantastic Four, but the reasons why they did it. That helped me make a judgment call, okay? All right, let's go ahead and get into this. But before we do, please like, subscribe, and share this video. And don't forget to hit that notification bell. That way you know whenever we come out with new videos, all right? Okay, let's get with this.
A bunch of sites have been reporting that all four main members of the new MCU version of the Fantastic Four have been cast. There's lots of Galactus casting news. I'll address that later in the video too. Just starting with the mains though, apparently Adam Driver is going to be the new Reed Richards of the MCU. I talked about this.
Now that's the biggest surprise right there. I don't think they're gonna have too much of a problem with the rest of the cast. But then again, I think there's another controversial casting on this, so I might be wrong on that. But nobody thought Adam Driver was going to be picked for that. But Disney and Marvel like to pick people they worked with before, people that I guess they get along with, or award winners, or their friends. They love to throw them in these positions. That's the problem I had with Marvel and Disney. Now, I probably mentioned this in past videos that for some reason, in my opinion, that they like to pick people that doesn't really fit the character. They'll pick them because they're friends or they're award winners or whatever, or famous or some reason, other than the fact that they fit the characters from the comic books. That's crazy to me. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I like Clint Eastwood because he usually picked nobodies back in those spaghetti westerns that he used to do. And to me, that's fresh and that gets people excited when you don't know who these people are. But for some reason, they keep on picking the same people. And the problem with me is, instead of picking somebody close to the characters of the comic books, they always want to pick somebody they like, and then they'll change the character to fit that actor. That's what I don't like. And I'm sure a lot of fans can agree. Now, do I think he could play Reed Richards? Probably. It might be. I probably don't see it coming. Heath Ledger. I mean, nobody thought he could do the Joker, but he was perfect as a Joker. Perfect. It really surprised a lot of people when he did that Joker. I'm hoping that's the same case in this particular situation, but because Marvel have been dropping the ball so long and so much that it's like people are a little nervous about people they picking now. Now, he played in Star Wars, so I guess to make it up to him, they want to give him Reed Richards. Now, I would have thought he'd be playing Dr. Doom. That's my opinion. If I was picking, that's the character he would have been playing. But then again, he probably didn't want it. He probably wanted to do Reed Richards for some reason. And I'm assuming the reason why they picked him, not only because he's a good actor, but he's kind of dark. So they wanted to go dark pretty much with this, which is also problematic because every time Disney seem like they want to go dark, they really don't go dark. Not like DC. They really don't go dark like we want them to. They always hold back. And it always, to me, was a waste of time to pick somebody, a great actor, without with all them awards and doing all these really dark movies that you will pick this person to play in your movie and then don't give them something to bite on. And that's crazy to me. You know, why you gonna pick these great actors and don't utilize them? It's insane. But let's continue.
A couple weeks ago because there have been early reports about him. Speaking of Fantastic Four and Reed Richards, Elizabeth Olsen, talk about Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, and John Krasinski, had a funny reaction to this recently because she doesn't keep up with all the multiverse story of it all. She said she only really pays attention to the stuff she's in, so she was really confused as to why it was a different actor, why it wasn't just John Krasinski coming back to be Reed Richards in the MCU.
That Adam Driver is going to play that character.
What?
I know.
But why did John do it? Oh, because different multiverses?
There you go.
Okay.
There you go.
I understand now.
See how surprised she was? She was surprised just like the rest of us probably were. She's like, why you didn't just pick the guy that played him originally? Well, he didn't want to do it. Maybe he didn't want to do it. I don't know. Maybe that's the situation. But everybody wanted him and Emily Blunt, his wife, to play Reed Richards and Sue Storm. They wanted them to play that character. That's what the fans wanted. But, you know, Disney got to do what Disney got to do. And she's very, you know what? She just came out with an article recently talking about giving advice to new actors that want to join Marvel and telling them not to sign like a long contract, be a character for like years on, because it takes away the creativity and the creative power that you have as an actor when you do something like that. And she said you should just sign one contract and then negotiate if you want to continue with the character or if you want to have a little bit more involvement when it comes down to the creativity of that character. You lose, footing, power in creating your own character when you sign a long, thing, which Disney require you to do to play their character. They always want you to play ball. They don't care. They just want you to do what they want you to do. And that goes with the rumors that they're very controlling. And I'm starting to hear more and more actors kind of express it. They don't say it outright, but they're expressing it now. Before they didn't say nothing. All the crap was going on behind the scenes. You probably would hear it more like with directors talking about creative differences, so they'll drop a project. But then I'm starting to hear more and more actors saying, they ain't so interested. They're looking more towards Disney because they give you more creative juices. It's like what's going on with Sony right now. They're utilizing the characters the way they should utilize them. Not saying they're always successful at it. They should start to hone they the way they film these movies, but they right now are doing a better job to me than Marvel's doing at present. And I'm like I say, like her, I'm seeing a lot of actors and actresses starting to convey that that sentiment when it comes down to Disney being controlling, very controlling.
She's like that all the time. When she was taking the lie detector test about John Krasinski, Reed Richards, she actually didn't know who the smartest man alive was. She didn't know in the comics that's also what they call Reed Richards and what they call him during the movie. Her brain just didn't make the connection that they were talking about Reed Richards.
Do you think this man is the smartest man alive?
No. It wasn't even like I'm really good at hiding a lie. I had no idea why they were asking me that question.
Right.
And I also didn't shoot with him. But I knew he was going to be in it.
Right.
There's a lot we can say about Adam Driver as Reed Richards, but casting him, it sounds like Marvel wanted a much darker, more hardcore take on the character. Adam Driver was also reported.
And they're going to do absolutely nothing with it. Other than Deadpool, I never heard anything else going rated R or something really dark. Only Deadpool. Only because of that is Ryan Reynolds. That's the only reason why they're doing it. Because if they had control of Ryan Reynolds' character Deadpool, they would have wimped him out. They probably would have tried to make him still funny, but then it wouldn't have been that much killing in it. I'm hoping Deadpool open a door so they can go dark. And with the Fantastic Four, you need to go dark. Because they're going to be messing with a lot of interstellar creatures. That was kind of hard for me to say. Interstellar creatures like the Silver Surfer or Galactus. A lot of dangerous stuff. And plus, they're talking about a lot of science, too. And science is serious. So, you can't have a bunch of doctors and they can't go a certain, distance with the story. It's crazy to do that. So they saying they're going dark. Who knows when it comes down to Disney and Marvel? They trying to give you that impression that they're going to go dark. But then what do? They disappoint. They don't do it. So hopefully they're telling the truth this time. I'm hoping they do.
reportedly considered for the new version of Doctor Doom as well. And most people thought of Doctor Doom when his name was mentioned, like, wow, he'd make an awesome Doctor Doom, just because he's known for playing that.
Did I not just say that? Did I not just say that? I would have picked him as Doctor Doom, man. Reed Richards, when they were talking with this dude, like I say, I was like, yeah, they're gonna pick him as Doctor Doom. He'd be perfect for Doctor Doom. He the kind of actor I would think that would pick Doctor Doom. Who they gonna play darker than Adam Driver to play Doctor Doom? Who they gonna pick for that? Because Adam Driver probably would have been perfect for that position. And Doctor Doom and Reed Richards, they both of them are intelligent, but Doctor Doom is dark compared to the honorable Reed Richards. So you go get Adam Driver, who usually like to play dark people, to play this role. So who gonna be able? How's he gonna play off somebody else? Who gonna play off Adam Driver? I'm very curious in finding that out. Very curious.
That type of really dark, broody character that Doctor Doom is. But it sounds like this new version of the Fantastic Four is going to be way more serious than the last versions that we've seen before. Like A Time Runs Out, Reed Richards. If you didn't read that storyline, it's the one that leads up to Secret Wars with all the incursions destroying all these different universes in the multiverse. During it, Reed Richards just flat out goes Kylo Ren, bully Maguire, let those other universes die. Everything dies. No reason to cry about it.
Look at little Goblin Jr. Gonna cry?
That was before they knew what was going on, why the incursions were happening, the Beyonders were behind them. In the MCU, it's going to be the Council of Kangs that are coming for them. Kang Dynasty sort of replacing that part of the storyline in the comics. But
and they might end up getting a new Kang because what Major's going through right now. It's not that serious. Don't get rid of that, man. Just write a better story. I mentioned in another video, I did watch Ant-Man. I can't even remember the names of these things now. Ant-Man, I did watch it, man. It was disappointing. I might have mentioned it in another video, but it was disappointing. It's the kind of thing I wouldn't want to do a reaction on. If I was doing movie reactions, that wouldn't be it. It was that boring. I was like, I think my eyes closed a few times while watching it. I was like, oh, goodness. See, I didn't go to the movie theater to see it because I had a feeling it wasn't going to be that good. And then I heard rumors that it wasn't going to be that good. So I waited until it came on streaming. And even then, I didn't watch it immediately. It took me a while to watch it. And I was like, okay, I'm bored. I'm sitting here. I'm about to eat and relax. So let me go ahead and watch this. And I had this really sinking feeling inside before I watched it. It's almost like this is really going to turn me off. It's really going to make me disappointed. And that's that feeling. You're like, oh, please be good. I didn't have that feeling with Marvel before. It was like, I can't wait to see it. I was excited. Now it was like, God, I hope it's good. Please let it be good, please. I just spent some money on this movie. Please let it be good. Now, if you're drinking alcohol in the movie theater, that might, cushion the blow. But other than that, it's like you begging, you hoping it'd be good, man. And it was disappointing. I'm glad I didn't go to the movie theater to see this thing. But it's very interesting. They keep talking about they want to go dark with Reed Richards, though. But I don't know what they mean by dark now. They got to define it because I really don't understand what they're talking about.
think of it this way. Now Adam Driver can play both Reed Richards in the MCU, and he can also play the Maker from the Ultimate Universe. If you didn't read those comics, that's just an evil version of Reed Richards from the Ultimate Universe, Miles Morales' universe. In fact, that version of Sue Storm from that universe, that Invisible Woman, becomes a version of Kang eventually. That's how hard they roll in the Ultimates universe. And speaking of the new Sue Storm Invisible Woman, reportedly it's going to be Margot Robbie of all people, which is a big surprise.
Now, this, I'm not disappointed. Now, she picked some crappy movies to be in, man. Even when she produces it. I mean, she's a great actress. And I love her in the role she plays. I'm never disappointed whenever she plays something. It's just, unfortunately, the directors and I got into it with another video about it. When I did a reaction for Barbie, and I was talking about for some reason, even though she's such a great actress, the stuff she picks sometimes is just crap. And then she, like I said, she always want to go do this political thing, but just picking women to do this stuff. And it never turns out well. But I did also say she need to start doing like Brad Pitt and start jumping on things that are going to make money. And I think this is what she's doing with this, which I have no problem with her being Sue Storm. I have no problem with that. I like Emily Blunt, and maybe that might have been an interesting choice. I don't know. That might have been an interesting choice, but I'm really liking the fact that Margot Robbie is going to play Sue Storm. I really like that idea. Now let's see who else they plan on picking for this movie. Maybe they're going to surprise us. But this is not a surprise right here. If it was up to me, I would have picked her. So that's not a big surprise right there. That's a good pick. So let's go ahead and continue.
To me, because James Gunn said that she would continue to be Harley Quinn in the new DC movies rebooted universe, and that's in spite of all the Fantastic Four Marvel stuff. Like, it sounds like he kind of knew that that was going on behind the scenes.
Hey guys, sorry I'm late. Had to go number 2.
Good to know.
I don't have quite as much of an opinion about her or an opinion about the Sue Storm character as I do about Reed Richards and Adam Driver, but I definitely think she can pull it off, and I don't think she's quite at Chris Pratt levels of overexposure. Like, she's in the Barbie movie that's coming out real soon. There's memes everywhere. We'll take 4 tickets to the Barbie movie, please. But the Adam Driver casting kind of explains the tone and the vibe of this version of the Fantastic Four, just in general. Like, Adam Driver does have a little bit of humor in some of his characters. Like, he's...
When I want to see the Fantastic Four, I think more of a sci-fi movie when I think about them. Because stuff they deal with, to me, falls in the sci-fi kind of category, not the comic book stuff. And that's what I loved about watching the old show back in the day that came out in the 60s, and also the comic books. You always felt like you were watching something that's based on sci-fi. I loved the whole thing. Space, science, all of these things that have something to do with it. They were different. And plus they were kind of like a family unit too, which made it very interesting. So I really, really liked that. So they was kind of separate. I think they was considered the first family of the Marvel Universe, because they were kind of different and separate. It won't just pow, pow, kick tail, do this, throw hammer, all these things. It wasn't just about that. It was more science-based. And it gives you the impression of a science. Like I say, they make some attempts making Fantastic Four. They was kind of entertaining. But they still didn't get that darkness and that rawness that they need to do when they make a Fantastic Four movie, in my opinion. Of course, it's my opinion. But let's continue.
He's not all seriousness, but it's just a much darker take, a much darker tone. So flowing with that, Margot Robbie would be a slightly more serious version of the character than Jessica Alba's version. The new version of The Thing will reportedly be Daveed Diggs, who most...
Now, I did like Jessica Alba, though. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, that's a beautiful woman, man. And she won't bad at it. She won't bad at it. I can get it. I think Margot Robbie got more range and probably would fit in a darker version of Fantastic Four. But I'm not going to say I liked all of the cast of the last Fantastic Four. It was just the writing, and it could have been darker, could have been just better. But I did like all the cast in that one. So I just want to put that out there.
So you might not recognize because he's going to look like a giant rock creature, kind of like Korg once he gets his powers. But his biggest stuff before this was Hamilton. He was in a new DC Super Pets movie as Cyborg, so he's already been in the DC universe before this. He was also in some of the animated Star Wars series. He did the new Snowpiercer series, talk about Fantastic Four Marvel connections, which was based on the movie that was originated by Chris Evans, the original Human Torch. And more recently, like literally as I'm making this video, he is the voice of Sebastian the Crab during the new Little Mermaid live-action remake.
Time to float in under the sea.
Don't worry, he is not going to sound like that during the Fantastic Four movie. He's a great actor, so I am interested to see what his Ben Grimm is like. Obviously,
now, I don't have a problem with this. Now, I know they got to meet certain standards. When I heard rumors now that you won't get an award unless you meet ESG standards, unless you start putting minorities and whatever into your movies. I don't think nobody should be forced, especially when you're dealing with creative projects. It should be a reason why you're doing it. But I'm gonna have to say I don't have a problem with them getting him to play, The Thing. I mean, I like The Thing originally as it is, and I don't care too much for race swapping. But I'm not mad about it. Okay, I'm not, oh God, I'm not gonna see it now. Let me go here and write a blog and do all this kind of crap, complaining about it, go on Twitter, be mad and all that. I'm not there. I can accept it because eventually he's gonna look like Thing. So I really don't care. As long as he be butt kicking, it's clobbering time type situation, I don't have a problem with it. I think that, this is not too bad. I don't have a problem with it. Adam Driver, I don't hate it, but I'm still on the fence when it comes down to that one. So let's go ahead and continue. And I don't know who this actor is. I never watched any of the movies this guy been in. So I might have to do some research on him, to see who this dude is. Maybe try to get an idea on him being Ben Grimm. But let's continue.
Going to be very different from Michael Chiklis's version of the character. Supposedly, they also tried to do the new version of Ben Grimm during the
That's a beautiful woman right there. She got a crazy mind, but she is a beautiful woman. Woo! Just had to say that, sorry.
She-Hulk series, but it would have been human form Ben Grimm. And I think the reason why they decided not to do it is just because it created too many continuity errors and because of what it sounds like they're doing with the actual story.
Actually, I want to stop here for a second. I read they was thinking about putting a female as the thing, which I'm sure people probably flipped out about that. I forgot that actress name. She was on that 70s show. She married to that dude. I forgot his name. I'm just forgetting everybody's name, man. But it was like rumors that they was going to make her, the thing, make the thing a female. And I was like, yeah, see, already they screwing up. They just doing whatever they want to do. Look, I don't mind you being creative, but you just doing, like I said, you just doing stuff just to do it, just to satisfy some political thing you want to do or make some group happy. That's not being creative. And that's not why actors sleep in their cars. They be waitresses. They be janitors. They be starving artists. The reason why, because they want to act. They want to be creative. Of course, yeah, they want to make money too. But generally speaking, they want to act. A lot of these actors are already rich. So now they just want to get into projects that's going to improve on their acting, something rich, something that they can, sink their teeth into. Not just because you just want to throw somebody in there. Now, we already know the reason why they're making Ben Grimm black. We already know the reason behind it. But hopefully, Marvel will be able to back it up. Maybe it might be such a good choice that we can't argue. Just like Heath Ledger, man, maybe that might be the case. Doubt it, because I doubt if anybody can just change anybody's mind like Heath Ledger did when he came down to the Joker. I haven't seen nobody done that yet. He was a perfect Joker. Did not see that coming. Because you saw the movies, the teen movies that he played in, all that. I didn't see him as the Joker at all. But he blew it out the water. All of us can agree on that. I don't know what kind of impact this actor going to do for, the Thing. The Thing is not a deep character, okay? Maybe that's the reason why they picked him. Who knows, right? But let's go ahead and continue.
The Fantastic Four movie and the new version of their backstory. I'll explain that story in a second. The new version of Johnny Storm, Human Torch, though, is reportedly going to be Paul Mescal, who's mostly done a lot of smaller and indie stuff. I wouldn't call him a total unknown, but of all the different Fantastic Four actors, he would be considered the newbie to big-budget, comic book, special effects heavy movies like this.
Now, I don't have a problem with that at all, because I don't know who this dude is. Never seen him, don't know what movies or anything he done. A fresh face to me is always a good thing. So he might can fill in certain blanks. They might have actually picked him because they feel like he could play not only Johnny Storm, but a darker version of Johnny Storm. And I know it won't no political hire. They probably just picked him for his talent. Now, I don't want to say that about the black guy, that they just picked him because he was black. I don't want to leave it like that. I don't. I'm hoping it was a deeper reason why they did it. And one thing I liked about comic books is because they had so many different nationalities in comic books. They always have. And that's what I loved about comic books. I mean, they were bringing in people from Russia to, Spain, to Puerto Rico. You had all kind of superheroes from all over the world. And that's the part I like more about Marvel than I did DC back in the day. Because Marvel would take more chances bringing minorities all from walks of life into these comic books. And I was hoping Marvel do the same thing, but for good reason. Not because they get threatened, they won't make some kind of score or something like that. I'm hoping that they just doing it because they feel like this person can do the part. And also not picking their friends. Now, I know they ain't picked this young dude because they were friends with him behind the scenes. I'm sure he had to earn that spot. And I like to think the brother earned the spot too to play the Thing. Sometimes the way they do it, man, it makes you think other things too, I'm hoping that's not the case. But I'm not disappointed with Johnny Storm. Not yet.
Here's the interesting thing about their new backstory in the MCU. The designer that Marvel hired for the movie is mostly known for doing period pieces, so a lot of people think that this is evidence that they're going with that crazy fan theory about the Fantastic Four being from a different time period and then time traveling to present day before Avengers 5, Kang Dynasty, and Secret Wars. Meaning that the Fantastic Four scene during Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness with John Krasinski's Reed Richards was actually meant to be a teaser for the new MCU version of the team.
Hello, Steven.
Fantastic.
That's interesting. I never heard about that. They bringing them from like the 60s. I mean, but that's when the show came out, the cartoon. I love that show, especially the intro. Really loved it, right? It gave this series. So it was like Johnny Quest. They could definitely make a Johnny Quest now, boy. That'd be perfect. But anyway, it was like Johnny Quest. Their intro, the way they did things. It's just, like I said, it didn't feel like a comic book movie. More like a novel or something. And that's what I liked about it. But that's interesting. They were thinking about bringing them from the 60s into present day. It's interesting. They're really trying to do something different with Fantastic Four now. I guess they looked in the past and saw that stuff that didn't work, so they want to try something completely new. But hopefully the people that's coming up with this idea are very creative. And like I say, Disney, Marvel need to loosen the range when it comes down to these creative people, because so many creative people out there that can make a masterpiece out of these movies. And they look at Spider-Man, Into the Spider-Verse or Across the Multiverse or whatever you want to call it. Creative people make those movies, and people love them. You could do the same thing with Marvel. I don't understand why they don't, because for some reason they keep trying to put out crap, man, and I don't understand that.
Fantastic Four. Didn't you guys chart in the 60s?
Originally, most people assumed that that was more of a Beatles joke because the Beatles were called the Fab Four back in the 1960s, and the Fantastic Four debuted in the comics in the 1960s. But now the rumor is that the MCU Fantastic Four either came from the 1960s the whole time, or they were thrown back in time after an accident. In the Fantastic Four charting in the 60s is just a reference to their adventures in the 60s, trying to find a way back to the present day and also fighting supervillains of that era. One of the other side Easter eggs, like one of the reasons why Kevin Feige wanted to bring the Fantastic Four to the MCU before he did a brand new version of the X-Men team, is because the Fantastic Four are Marvel's first family, like literally and metaphorically. They started in the early 1960s, way before the Avengers, way before the X-Men. And also because the Fantastic Four hadn't really gotten a great movie yet. Even though there have been a lot of bad X-Men movies, there have been a lot of really good X-Men movies too. Kevin Feige also wanted to bring back some of the more popular X-Men actors first, like Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, Patrick Stewart as versions of Professor X, even Ian McKellen's Magneto is supposed to come back in Deadpool 3. So he wanted to bring all those people back before he did a whole new version.
Did not know that. Ian McKellen, he was a perfect Magneto. I loved him as that. That was the least disappointing about the X-Men. Don't get me wrong, I like the X-Men. It was a lot of disappointing things about it. I was kind of disappointed with Hugh Jackman at the beginning, but you grew to love him, even though to me he didn't really fit that Canadian thing. And it's like, but I love Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, I do. So I'm not going to say anything bad about that. But it was like a lot of mismatching and Halle Berry and all these other people that you didn't see as these characters, because I grew up on the comic books. So I guess in my mind, and I guess it's my fault, I just pictured these people to being like more like the ones on the comic books. And then when I saw them, I was like, it's not. And I hated the costumes back then, really hated the costumes. Putting them in all black and all that. It was awful. It was a lot of disappointing things about it. But Ian McKellen, I loved him as Magneto. Loved him. Also loved the other actor, too, that played Magneto, too. I wish I could remember his name at the moment, but usually I can't remember. For some reason, I can't remember these people's names, man, until after I finish filming. But y'all know who I'm talking about. But let's go ahead and continue.
Of the X-Men with recast actors. Also, there's the whole idea of everything going on with Avengers 5, Kang Dynasty, Secret Wars, and Reed Richards has such a strong connection with Kang in the comics. Kang, for instance, originally debuted in the early Fantastic Four comics as Rama Tut. That's why Kang is mostly a Fantastic Four character, so it just made sense to do their team first. Long term, it sounds like Marvel's plan is to try and position the new Adam Driver, Reed Richards.
That looked so cheap. When I saw that on Ant-Man, I saw the end. It looked so cheap. It's like they don't care, man. I don't know what's going on with Marvel, man. It's like it looks so cheap. And that I usually get excited about the post endings, whatever comes up on the next movie. I usually get really excited about it. I looked at that, I'm like, oh, that's disappointing. they could have done so much with Kang, man. And they got the actor to do it, but yet it's almost like they're holding back for on purpose or something. It's almost like they're trying to ruin the characters. He's a big time. Kang is a big time character. And this is how you use him. Look, I excused the first time he used Kang because it ended up being really good and entertaining. But I was like, okay, after this, they're going to make this dude serious. And they're going to make him a badass like Thanos. But so far, it seems like they holding back. And I don't know why that is. I really don't know. Maybe they got something planned. I have no clue.
As one of the de facto leaders of the MCU, the way that Iron Man and Steve Rogers, Captain America, were during the Infinity Saga movies, it's just that we're starting to get more teams now in the MCU just in general, whereas before it was just the Avengers.
Your neck is done. Get to Good. Goody's Fast Pain Relief Powder.
The Wells Fargo Active Cash Card. Earn 2% cash back on what you want, like a vintage turntable. And need, like a new needle for it. The Wells Fargo Active Cash Credit Card. That's real life ready.
So it sounds like Reed Richards is going to become one of the most important characters that they have, or they would like him to become one. There's been a lot of stuff that's happened that Marvel did not plan for. Like originally, I think the idea is that Chadwick Boseman's Black Panther would become that big leader in the MCU, and they were going to position all their movies around.
It was so disappointing when he died. I mean, for obvious reasons, but I'm telling you, Black Panther went down. I saw that movie. It took me a while to see that movie, too, and I saw it during streaming because I heard so many bad things about it. But it took me a while to watch it. At first, I thought maybe I just wasn't excited to see it. But it was more about disappointment, especially after he passed away. He was so perfect. This is one of the times when they picked an award-winning, great actor and put him in a great role. One of the times that I completely approve of. And when he passed away, it went downhill after that. It was heartbreaking. It took me a long time to watch Black Panther 2. It was heartbreaking. And guess what? I was disappointed. Kind of like Namor. Everybody didn't like Namor for some reason. I keep hearing about that, but I kind of like the Namor character in that movie. I didn't have a problem with him at all, and the fact they use Hispanics for that particular race, I thought that was a good thing. I really liked it. But other than that, downhill. I'm sorry he died. I'm sorry for his family and all the people that loved him and respected him. But when he died, he took Black Panther with him. And I don't know if they'll ever be able to fill his shoes after that. Disappointing, man. Disappointing.
On him. They still have Tom Holland's Spider-Man. He's still going to continue to be in the movies, and I think he'll continue to be one of the biggest characters that they have. He's also one of the most popular characters in the history of the world. Like Spider-Man, Batman, and Superman are the three most popular characters in the history of the world, just in general. Mm-hmm. But I think Marvel originally had all these plans for the Black Panther character before he passed away. I don't know if they have plans to do their children right away. Franklin Richards and Valeria. John Krasinski's Reed Richards in the 838 universe said that they already existed outside the MCU, and the reports on Doctor Doom right now are that he won't be a big character in this first new Fantastic Four movie. They're waiting a little bit longer to do his character. But there'll probably be some Easter eggs and references to him during the movie. And I just did a video for Kevin Feige and Jon Favreau talk about Doctor Doom, about how Robert Downey Jr. almost became Doctor Doom in the Marvel movies. Seriously? That would have been a very, very different version of the character. Imagine a much more unhinged, crazy energy Doctor Doom. Yeah, I am Iron Man, but make it Doom. I am Doom. Totally glad that he was cast as Iron Man instead. Yeah. Kevin Feige even says he believes they wouldn't have a studio were it not for the success of that first Iron Man movie. So they owe a lot of Marvel Studios to Robert Downey Jr. Mm-hmm. Speaking of Doctor Doom, though, reportedly the villain of this new Fantastic Four movie will be Galactus. They're going to full Galactus way sooner than I expected. Yeah. So we'll find out what's going on with that pretty soon. I just did a big Galactus video. There have been some more. I love Galactus, man. As much as you want them to do it, I'm willing to wait longer to see Galactus if they made him perfect. Because that last Fantastic Four was awful. They made him a cloud. I'm like, you ran out of budget money? I mean, you shouldn't have had him at all if you couldn't go all the way. You shouldn't have done a Silver Surfer if you couldn't have Galactus. They like two peas in a pod, man. You couldn't just do a Silver Surfer without a Galactus. And when you knew you didn't have the budget to do a Galactus, or whatever reason why they didn't do it and made him a cloud, it was so. I remember sitting in the movie theater. I was like looking forward to seeing Galactus.
That was definitely one of my excitements for going and seeing that movie, and we saw Cloud. That was disappointing big time. They better do him right. Better. Him and Silver Surfer. They better do him right. Or they're going to have a lot of angry fans on their hands, man. I'm telling you, take your time, Marvel. I'm telling you, take your time. You got to get this right. You got to. If you want people to go see a Silver Surfer movie, you got to get it all right. And I'm glad this is the time they decided to slow down because they know they're making mistakes. Instead of keep pumping out a bunch of movies, people are willing to wait. Like, look at Spider-Man, across the Spider-Verse. It took them 4 years to make that movie. But it was worth the wait from what I hear from, all the critics now talking about how great it is. It was worth the wait because they took the time to make it. But, Disney got to be greedy for some reason. Or let's just pump it out like a factory. It's crazy, man. Crazy.
Or casting announcements about that, so I might do another one pretty soon, too. And speaking of X-Men, there's a bunch of good X-Men news that I'll do a video for later this week. In my full Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse review, we'll post on Wednesday, so look out for that. Congratulations to...
All right, that's pretty much it with that. I love Emergency Awesome because if I had to go to anybody when it comes down to Disney or Marvel or DC or anything related to comic books and animation, I like to go to this guy because he's more legit. A lot of the times when he talk about something, it's usually confirmed. And it's a lot of people out there talking about stuff. But sometimes I think they just, gaslighting you or they just trying to get clicks. So they'll say something. They be guessing about something just to get you to come on their YouTube channel. But him, I think he got like inside sources about a lot of things. And I've been watching this guy a lot. This is my first time doing a reaction to him. But I watched this guy a lot. When I really want information what's going on behind the scenes and what they plan on doing, just like this is the guy I go to. He's a really, really good. You should definitely, I'm going to leave his information, his link in my comment section. You should definitely watch his videos. If you want real accurate reporting regarding Marvel and DC and other projects that's related, he is the guy to go to. He's really good, okay? All right, I really appreciate all of you coming by. Thanks again, and I'm really hoping and praying that this Fantastic Four is going to be good. I really, really hope so. Okay, thanks again, and peace.